Hello, my friends. I'm going to show you some stuff on Google Earth. We're going to take a quick look at some stuff. Important stuff on the screen. I'm showing you exactly where to search for. I'm going to talk fast. All the other details are on your screen. Sydney, Australia. We're looking at Darling Park. So if you're in a search, that is your key. We're going to follow that and let it lead us in. I think there's a little delay on my transition after I click. But we're looking inside of that circle area between the buildings. There's a park there, and there's a little dot right next to the center of it. You can search, it'll take you to the middle of the park. So we're going to take a look at world governments and world science organizations and see what kind of architecture and construction do they put in around their stuff. And if so, does it line up with what we have been told regarding certain things? And are they showing us something in plain sight? So we are now inside of that park. All right, so pay close attention there. There's an obelisk in the exact center. Okay, so consider that a pole. So you have a pole there. And important to see exactly what you're being shown here. Do you see countries? Do you see them laid out in a circle around a pole? Okay? Most of the screen's going to do the talking. I'm just going to highlight certain stuff for you. Note that around the water, where the pond is, there is a ring around it. Okay? Now, if you don't understand where we're going with this, you will see in a moment. The screen's going to transition. There's going to be some screenshots that are going to pop up here in a minute. Logo that you're going to first see is the logo for the United Nations. And right next to that, you're also going to see a few maps that used to be used in older times when ships were certainly navigating all over the Earth during trade routes, and the map that they were using at that time. And so, like I said, I'm not going to stop on those. Take screenshots if you'd like, and you can review it from there. But this is right in the middle of a major park, and the very first thing I showed you was information on who built it, how it got there, and there you go. UN logo to your left. Knights of the Round Table. Holy Grail. Everybody paying attention? That is the map that was used by the ancient explorers. This is CERN. Screenshots if you'd like. Some interesting information there you may not be familiar with about them, and some of the art and theater that they do right outside their facility. That is the LHC, the Hadron Collider. Notice the shape. Okay, so now we are back on the Google Earth. I'm showing you all of the places you need to look if you want to go find this. I'm pointing it out to you on the screen. So this may seem like we're jumping around, but it will all come together. I just want to take the time here showing you exactly how we got there, so that if you want to look for this for yourself, you can. For me, and what I've noticed, most of the time we get into these kind of subject matters, the majority of people, and that's because we almost all came from the same education system, we grew up watching the same things, television, movies, so on, etc. And when we look at these kind of things and we start questioning what would be the common narrative, usually most people are going to reference or reflect back to government institutions, science institutions, things of that nature, which is understandable. Again, the Google Earth's transitioned a little bit, it's a little slow. But you'll be able to see this location on the screen when you're there, and you'll see, if you click the street map, the little yellow indicator man at the bottom, it'll highlight those blue areas that you can actually drop in. You can watch my mouse and it'll show you which one to click. And it'll take us into some artwork that is sitting right out in front of the CERN facility. And the reason I do this is because, like I said, we tend to look to those institutions when we're going to try and look for info about these things. But what if they're telling us a whole different story right in front of our eyes? Telling us one thing, but actively knowing and utilizing something completely different. So, again, the screen transition may be a little slow, but we are now standing in front of some art that is out in the yard in front of CERN. And I'll go through this thing pretty slowly as far as moving around and through it. There's actually a lot of information carved and etched into the inside and underneath of the structure out in front of CERN. So you saw the little screenshots at the beginning, but in case you do not know, CERN is a conglomerate of scientists from around the world that have headquarters and on the border of Switzerland and Austria, and the Hadron Collider facility is miles underground. And the facility is, like I said, stated purpose you saw at the very beginning. They are essentially taking the most basic particles that we are aware of, and they are smashing them together at very high speeds, trying to essentially recreate elements of the Big Bang Theory. So, based on that, we understand that their model would be a globe model, as the globe model is based on the Big Bang Theory. So, one leads to the other. So, if that is the understanding position of the science that they teach us, what I wonder is, why are they showing us the opposite in plain sight, places that are built by governments of the world and in world conglomerate scientific institutions? Why would they show us the opposite in plain sight? There's plenty of reasons for that, but really what we're looking at is, are they showing us the exact opposite in plain sight? And as you can see now, what you are seeing there, to the right side of the screen, you are seeing the circular overlaps. You see that? Okay? And there's a series of different little circles here. Again, the Google Earth transition is not so great, but you can see, and that really was the main part of it that I wanted to look at. So, interestingly, that you're looking at is what would be known as, or what we would call, sacred geometry, or divine numbers. And you can see very clearly what shape and mathematically they're showing us stuff here. And if you don't see the correlation between what we're looking at right now and the screenshots we looked at just before, what does the UN logo look like? What do all those maps look like? What was the geometric shape that we just saw right in front of us now? And what do those all look like? So, sacred geometry is based on mathematics. So, they're showing us sacred geometry and math that correlates with a lot of things. So, there's a lot of very interesting formulas and quantities and breakdowns on this piece of art outside of CERN, which is very interesting. So now there's a screenshot of that, and now you're going to see some other screenshots of that in nature, and then some other places that it might make more sense of what it is we're actually looking at. Let's take some screenshots and look at those, because now hopefully this is all correlating and making more sense. Does that all look pretty much exactly like what we just